right, so let's keep this thing rolling and take a look at the ConDoc Tools toolbar. This is really where we started. The plan generator was truly the proof of concept, and then we expanded to the section, elevation, and perspective tools, and then moved on to all this tagging and all that we covered in the last video. So in this video, we're just going to go through plan, section, elevation, and perspective tools. This shouldn't take too long. I mean, I'm telling you, once a model's built and tagged, it's really quick to create the drawings. So our ConDoc tools, they all create the scenes that you will need to then bundle them up and create drawings. That's the idea. So we'll run through, make all our scenes. We're going to check our scenes. I think I'll walk you through some more advanced stuff that I like to do to kind of center my views and update some cameras. And then we'll send these over into layout. So let's get to it. All right, so we have our model is all completely tagged by level, element, location, and condition. Now it's time to run some of the ConDoc tools. So I'll open up the plan generator. And for a project like this, I really just need like a foundation, construction, and roof plan. And I can tell you that this architect drawing set, it has all the drawings that you would need for a remodel as well. So you can, disregard existing conditions plan for something that's like new construction. Like this doesn't really apply. It would create a plan. It just, I think nothing would show up because it would be isolating existing. And then also you have like a renovation construction plan. So if you were working on a renovation project, this is the plan that you'd want to use so that you're kind of showing new walls versus existing walls. But for us here today, this is our foundation construction roof plan. That's going to do it to it. So I'll hit create plans and watch what happens. So this is now going to crank out a bunch of scenes along the top and names them all, drops a section plane, picks the style, does a lot of work, ton of work. So here we go. So usually what I do is I would then go take a look. We can probably turn off our tags for now and go look at our scenes. All right. So typically what I would do is just click through each one of these scenes. And I do have a keyboard shortcut. My page down allows me to, toggle through each one of my scene tabs. So again, under window, preferences, scene maybe. Yeah, so you can do like next scene. And I use page down and previous scene is page up. Just a heads up. All right, so typically I would go and look at my heavy viewport. The heavy viewport is almost always the one that holds the walls. And I just kind of want to get a general idea of the plan, or kind of like, what am I looking at? If I look at light, that doesn't tell me a whole lot. But heavy is going to help out. All right. So typically what I do is I go through and I look at each one of these scenes and just see, is it looking the way I want it to look? Are we close? And I can already tell that we're going to have, we should be good. This is a foundation plan. I hope we do have some errors because, I was looking at this like, why are there only windows? Maybe you should have doors, but that's not the case. I don't think that's the case. We'll check it. All right. So we're going to go in, and what I like to do is, like I said, go through, check all my scenes. Typically I'm looking at heavy. And then I like to update my scenes where I go like, I would typically do a zoom extents and get this plan kind of centered in my viewport. Because, when it gets to layout, I just kind of want it, like close to centered. I want it to show up in that export. I want it to be obvious. And also, every time I click on a scene, I don't want to have to zoom in. All right. So, that's like, this looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is just take all of these plans and I want to update the camera view. And so one way to do that is to select all these scenes in your scenes dialog, and then you could hit update, and then you could choose to update only the camera location like that. So now I'm only going to update the camera location. Keep in mind, if you were to update your tags, then all these scenes are going to have the same tags turned on. We don't want that. You only want to update your camera location. I can tell you that we are working on a new Express tool to add to this. Maybe when you're watching this video, it might even exist, but this Express tool is going to be a one-click to update your camera view for all these scenes. It'll be slick. All right, so now as I click through, you'll be able to see that, like, they're all kind of in the same spot. And it's really important that all of these planned scenes have the same camera view. And you could have, like, your roof plan could be different than your construction plans, but I can tell you that all your roof plans need to have the same camera view. All your construction plan 02 need to have the same camera view. All your construction plan 01 need to have the same camera view. So that's important that each one of those drawings, because we're going to stack those viewports. And if you're to mess with one of them, then they're just not going to stack right. So also, I'll give you a heads up that you do this in the beginning and don't mess with it after that. So like I get this set up so that I can check all my scenes, and then you don't want to mess with this anymore after the fact. Not that you can't mess with it, but just know that, like, once you start annotating these things and putting dimensions and callouts, you don't want to mess with the camera view. All right, so you can see, like, this is what's going to create, like, a complete plan. It'll be like, the light is going to be underlaid, and then heavy is going to be in there, and then we're going to have dash. That's going to be cool. Here's construction plan level 2, hatch B, hatch A. So we're hatching interior versus exterior, and then heavy, and, like, this all looks like it's going to be just fine, like it's looking good. I think I saw something, here's level 1, exterior and interior, and then heavy and light. So yeah, I mean, everything's looking pretty decent. I kind of think I've got, like, an extra door here. No? What am I looking at? So this is, like, good thing to do is just kind of check, like, why. Okay, so I think what's happening is maybe a tagging issue. This is good. I'm glad that, like, there's some sort of errors in this. I want this to be, to feel like a real tutorial, right? Or like a real project, real working scenario. You're going to come across this stuff. And I can tell you that I'm sure every software developer in the history of software developing has said, I'm positive that my software works the way it's supposed to work. And I will tell you that I have tested this thing over and over and over from, here to Sunday, or whatever the phrase is. Like, I'm confident that when you push the buttons, ConDoc is doing what it's supposed to do. I mean, short of crashing or, like, falling short or failing, or if there's some, clash with another extension, when you push the buttons, ConDoc's doing what it's supposed to do. All right. So I can tell you that when your drawings don't look the way you expect them to look, 95% of the time, it's a tagging issue. So when something is showing up in a scene, you've got, like, a toilet floating in the middle of your living room. You've got, like, this door swing. I'm not sure what's going on. I think the 2D graphic 3D object scenario has been disrupted on that door. So just know, when your drawings don't look the way you expect them to, 95% of the time, it's a tagging issue. So let's dig in, see if we can't figure out what's going on and sort out the rest of these drawings. Okay, so what I might do, like, I know that, this is the door. I'm just going to double click in and select this guy. And I can see that, like, my 2D graphic and my 3D object are not applied. All right, and this is a good chance. Like, let me back out of here and take a look at, like, this door right here. All right, so this, let's go upstairs. Let me hit, I'm gonna hit reset, and we're gonna go to interior, and then I'm gonna select this door right here. Okay, so this is a level 2 doors interior new. And when I double click in and select this guy, notice that we are using a SketchUp tag, and we're calling it ConDoc 3D object. And then on this guy is ConDoc 2D graphic. This is one of those little exceptions to the rule. You can assign the 2D graphic or the 3D object to the actual group, like using the SketchUp tag. You can do that because it's the last tag in the organization hierarchy. So it's not going to be disrupted. Like, this is the last in line to be turned on or off. Now, I'll also say, you can see that this has the SketchUp tag 2D graphic, and this has the SketchUp tag 3D object. All right. Well, if I go back into, let me back out of here and go to level 1 interior, and then get back to our door here. All right, and double click in, you can see that this guy, we could use, the 3D object. We could do that, or you can just stick with the system and say this is our 3D object and this is our 2D graphic, like that. Now, we should be good to go on that. Let me see. Okay, so this is a little bit of a gotcha now. The way that the ConDoc tags work when it comes to scenes is that we are kind of using the hide command, and hide, when we hide entities in SketchUp, we're saving what's hidden with the scene. That's what ConDoc is doing. That's how we make this multi-tagging feature work. All right, so when you assign new tags to an entity, which is what I just did, I tag the door slab 3D object, and I tag the door swing 2D graphic. I use the ConDoc tags. Well, the scene that was already created doesn't know that those entities were tagged. So I'm going to show you another button just to make sure that we'll probably use this button again down the road, but I just want to make sure I get the mention in early because it's really important. And I can tell you that there's a ton of support tickets and calls that come in, and I say, good news, all you got to do is push this button. So let me show you. All right, so let's see what happened here. So we tagged 2D graphic 3D object with our ConDoc tags. So now I want to see construction plan 01 light. And let's see. And now I'm going to I'm just going to turn on my 2D graphic 3D object. Okay, so we're working correctly. All right, so I believe it was this door, right? Let me kind of get back there, interior. Yeah, it was that door, okay? So we're gonna go back to 01 light, and it would appear to be working properly now. All right, so if this wasn't working, and I'm trying to think of, on the spot why it worked, which is good news, it worked, but there's this button, scene, update, and save. So after tagging changes, this operation updates the scenes with the correct visibility of entities and saves the file. So if for some reason we tag this and then it was like, man, why is this still not showing up right? Well, you can just hit scene, update, and save and try again, because it's like, I don't even know the percentage, but a lot of the time, folks miss the fact that you got to push this button. If you're making tagging changes after you've created your scenes, just know you just got to hit scene, update, and save. No big deal. Okay, let's keep rolling here. So we've got, light, and then I go page down for heavy. I got something going on here. I think, let's see, our stairs kind of have this, 3D object, 2D graphics scenario kind of goofed up too. Probably what happened is when I was, kind of cleaning out my demo files, I deleted the tags. So when I go in here, see, this doesn't have the 2D graphic and the 3D object. So that's okay. This is good chance for us to fix it. There's our 3D object. There's our 2D graphic, like that. All right, so now I can go back to heavy and see my stairs should be cleaned up a little bit. And then am I seeing something else? So heavy gets the stairs. All right, and then what I would say, yeah, this gets a little bit tricky with this wall here. I would almost gosh, you know what? I might even just try and fix this and show you something advanced, you know? This 2D graphic, you know, it's kind of like I want to cut the walls at different heights. So I'll do something kind of advanced. I'm going to get into these walls here, and I don't know if I want to get into this. I'm not sure. I wish I could ask you. Do you want to see this? It's probably worth getting into. All right, let's do it. Why not? We got a long format tutorial. So let's take a look at construction plan 01 heavy. And the issue that I'm seeing is that, you know, my stairs, I mean, it might not even be an issue. The fact that like this wall is there. I guess I was thinking I kind of want my stairs above it, but let's not get into it. Not right now. I don't want to derail this particular tutorial on one little line or something. So this looks pretty good for now. And then, you know, if I go through the rest, I think we're in pretty good shape. All right. So let's stick to the task at hand, and that's getting all of our scenes created. So now I'm going to use my elevation tool. So I'll activate the elevation tool and click on the front of the house. So now I like to use CAD elevation with shadows like that. All right. And then I'll orbit around like this, and we'll do CAD elevation shadows. Orbit around like this, and we'll do CAD elevation shadows, and orbit around like that and do CAD elevation shadows. All right, just like with our plan scenes, I want to go through and I want to, like, you know, double check my what I created. So here's like the first one. All right, so CAD elevation shadows 01 primary, and then the second scene that we create is going to be our shadows. I like to do this because it like puts the shadows below and then overlays our nice clean vector line work like that. Now, I will tell you, you know, if we go through, I mean, you know, these are all looking pretty decent, okay? You know, they all come out the way I want. And this one right here is a little bit goofed up. And you can see why. The section plane is dropping through the fence. The reason for that is that when I activate the elevation tool, when I click, it bounces that section plane 5 feet off the face that I click on. And that's just kind of by design, you know, for the elevation tool, because typically you wouldn't want to, you know, section it right there if you're creating an elevation. The section tool does cut right where you click it. Elevation tool bounces off 5 feet, and that dimension is adjustable in the configurator, but it's impossible to predict, you know, what's going to be the right distance. If it was only like 1 foot, I'd be hitting the soffit, and it just so happens I hit the fence, but that's okay. Check this out. We've got a new express tool. It's called Isolate Active Section Planes. You know, when I click that, it turns on section plane visibility, and it hides any section plane that is not active. So now it makes it really easy for me to use my move tool and just kind of scoot it in just a notch. And now let's go check what that scene looks like. You know, so now we're getting that nice clean section through the fence. The fence is included in my elevation. That looks pretty good like that. Okay, so that's all good. But, you know, another thing I don't like, just like with the plans, I don't, you know, I want these drawings kind of centered. And it's really important that, like, when I'm updating these scenes, I'm updating both the scenes associated with the drawing. So like I did last time, I'll show you. Here's what I did is I hit update. I selected the 2 scenes that are associated with CAD elevation 01, and then I update the camera location like that. So now, you know, if I were to go to roof plan and then go back to this one, that's where it sits. And then both these viewports are going to be, you know, perfectly aligned, and they're going to stack appropriately. Now on the next one, here's a faster way to get that done. I can select both of these scenes, and I could just simply uncheck camera location and recheck it. Make sure you recheck it though, otherwise it won't save that view. And so now, you know, I bounce between these guys, and it's like the same as updating. All right, so now I can take like this one, uncheck, recheck, and then I can go to this last one, and then I can say select both of them. So I hold Control to select both those, and then I can uncheck, recheck, like that. Like I mentioned, this is, I want to solve this problem in a much cleaner way. So we're developing a new Express tool where I would just click a button and it would update the camera view for all scenes associated with that drawing, and it would keep you out of the scenes dialog. So we're getting there. All right, I'm going to hit reset. I'm going to save this, and I kind of went out of order. That's okay. Let's create some sections. But I kind of went in order in the way that I would create my actual permit set. I would create the elevations, or list the elevations next. And then I would go to a section. I will say with the section tool, I'm going to tap the left arrow key to lock that on the green. And what happens sometimes is if you find yourself kind of mousing around all over the place while the section tool is active, and then you go and click, sometimes you kind of lose the section tool. We tried to fix that. I'm not sure what that is all about, but if you experience it, just this doesn't pop up, just know that like it's usually better, best practice to kind of just click on the section tool and then go straight to where you want to place it and click. All right, so then you'll maybe get better results. I'm going to go with a CAD section fill like that. All right, and then I'm going to do another section cut on this ridge line, and I'm going to go with CAD section fill. Notice that this one is creating, our foreground, background. Background just has all the context in it. Foreground, background. All right, same drill. I'm going to zoom in on this guy like that. I'm going to select both scenes associated with that drawing and update my camera location. Same deal here. We're going to update our camera location like that. Hit reset. And I think we're in pretty good shape. I'm going to save that. All right, this is a good time to mention that the way that the ConDoc tools work is that we're just, we're automating the creation of SketchUp scenes. So we're automating all these native features and commands in SketchUp. ConDoc is not like, the tagging system's always running, but like when it comes to the scenes, ConDoc is not like always kind of managing and in control. The tools automate the creation of those scenes and, adds the styles, the section plane, it names it and all that. Well, the point I want to make here is that you are free and clear to modify the SketchUp scene. So if you, or the style or the shadows or whatever it is you want to do, just don't change the scene name. That's what we use to kind of get things synced up and stacked in the layout. So what I want to do here is take a look at the style and maybe tweak some of the style settings and just make the point that like, look, once you've created these scenes in SketchUp, you're free and clear to go in and just use it like a SketchUp model and you're not going to hurt anything. Let's do that. All right, so when I go look at our sections like this and then go look at like a style here, this is called line drawing 00 section fill. And the section fill when it's black it's really kind of heavy, right? So I'm going to go to edit and we're going to go to our section fill and I'm going to set it to just be white like that. And I like the section fill set to white. Check out what it looks like without section fill. You can see all these little lines, like inside the wall and inside the foundation, all that. But with section fill on, it really cleans things up, And if you model in a clean way, like keeping things as solids, you're really going to have much better results with your drawings. Okay, so now I've modified this style. If I don't update it, look what happens. It just goes back to that. So I need to turn my section fill over to white, update it, and now any scene that's using that style, we'll have these changes. So this other section is going to look the same. And you can see like on this one, like all that stuff in there, it's inevitable that you're just going to have like, windows and I don't even know what's going on there, but stuff, it's just going to happen. And so this way, if you set your section fill to white, it can just kind of clean things up for you. All right, so we're good there. And let's see, the last thing I'll do is create some, we'll do like 2 sketchy perspectives. All right, so I'll add a sketch exterior perspective here, and then we'll go over here and I'll do the same thing, and I'll hit sketch exterior perspective. And then you can see like sketch exterior perspective 1. Again, there's like you can change these scenes. So like my shadows didn't land perfectly, right? Something I didn't mention, actually, no, let me mention that real quick. Like, see, my shadows are at a perfect 45, shadows at a perfect 45, shadows at a perfect 45. I love this feature. I mean, it seems so insignificant, but to get your shadows hitting at a perfect 45 on all your elevations, it's kind of impossible using the native tools in SketchUp, but we got that automated for you. Well, that's cool that we can automate that for our elevations, but when it comes to a perspective, you just can't guess. It's it's kind of hard to guess, I guess, is what I would say. And there's no right answer. We don't want to force it into something weird. So you just go to your shadows and then just change it, like, okay, that looks good. Let me update that scene. And then let's go to our next one. Okay, so and that one looks good. So I think we're in good shape. So, if you want to mess with the view anymore, you can just update these scenes, no sweat. Something I was kind of picking apart this design a little bit, and this column and beam, these are not really totally necessary. All right, so I'm gonna hit reset, and so, but you know what? Maybe like I'm not ready to abandon them. If I just throw them on always off, these column and the column and beam will never show up in any of my drawings, anything. All right, so check this out. So if I go back to like my perspective, see, now it's gone. All right, so and the idea is that like I think this roof would stand up on its own without that column and beam. All right, then we've got some other stuff going on here, and I think this is going to be like another exception to our rule. And this is one of those happy little accidents, right? I'm going to hit reset, and let's go look at this. These lines showing through are not ideal, so let's isolate our floors and our walls, all right, like that. I really want these lines to not be showing up. So we have a solution for that. It's called Visual Merge. So I'm going to double click in here and I'm going to select these 2 edges. Now I can tell you that you can only assign ConDoc tags to groups and components. You cannot assign ConDoc tags to edges and surfaces. And the reason for that is that there's just, hundreds of thousands of edges and surfaces, and it's a performance issue. If we only are checking for groups and components, we drastically sped up performance. So ultimately, it was totally an okay compromise, because this is the exception to the rule. I can set these edges to be on Visual Merge. All right, so now these guys are going to turn off. So let me go to my tags, and I'm just going to turn off Visual Merge. All right, so see how those are now no longer showing? You might also consider, putting these guys on Visual Merge. That can help too. I'm going to back out of here, and hey, what's going on? They still show up. Well, that's because those edges also exist in here, like this, and we'll just do Visual Merge like that. Back out, and they also exist in here, like this. So we'll go with Visual Merge like that. All right, now let's go back to, these don't matter because we threw that Valley instant cladding on top of there. So now we can go back to this guy, and look at that. See, we got it perfect. And sometimes with those sketchy styles, it does show up. So see how that's showing up? So, maybe you would want to do visual merge on here. So I might go to like my tag freeze and then just hop in and, grab, what am I looking for? Really just, all I really want is like, these guys. I think that's all I need. So visual merge like that. And then you would need to tag it above as well, like this and like this. All right. And so, whenever I hit the reset button, it turns my visual merge back on. That's why we're seeing it there. But when I go back to that scene, this guy, yeah, so now it looks good. So, just we kind of have a solution for everything. And, those are a few of the little workarounds and tips, tricks, strategies, and all that. All right, so when in doubt, remember, you just hit that scene update and save. You could even, replace, instead of going to file save, there's nothing wrong with just hitting this button. And that way you're kind of always in good shape. So we're looking good. We've covered our ConDoc Tools toolbar, the plan section, elevation and perspective tools, scene update and save. The last piece of the puzzle here is our ConDoc drawing export. This is the function that's going to take all those scenes, turn them into layout viewports, stack them, optimize the render settings, get those scenes turned into drawings. I always say during these tutorials, I don't need scenes, I need drawings. And that's what this last drawing export is all about.